Hello. Yeah.
Action. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to talk about this.
Good
I'm
on you,
going to
Rusty.
leave during this segment, guys. Welcome back.
He's a hungry man.
My food
I
is
mean,
25 minutes late. So if
you
it shows up, I'm going.
well, you think, yeah, it's 25 minutes late, though. Like, this could be a cancelled situation. Like, the way this evening's going, there's just, every single game, there's just been some weird real-life thing happening to one of us. So this has been a fun evening. It's been a fun weekend as well, I would say, for Avant. Obviously, congratulations to Legacy. You're always going to do it. But Avant, we have seen, even with the loss there, Rusty, we've seen some growth from this team. This is a good spot for them to be in at this stage of the split.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, it may well be another 1-1 week, and so be it for AV, right? Like, it's very much worth it. We still look at this performance, and yes, it doesn't go into their results. And best of ones, this can hurt them not having the victory. But it's still, like, it's Legacy. It's not an expected win. And just like Pensanet, they push them to their limits to be able to get that victory in the first place. And Spawn mentioned it during the cast, right? Like, 25 minutes in, Legacy get a grasp back on the game. They get a handle on things. They slow it down to a pace that they're comfortable with. They control their side lanes. They don't look like losing, right? But, God, they had to work for it still to get to that point in the first place.
And Skimmy, double pentas for the day. I mean, this is why you were brought here, that kind of excitement.
Oh, for sure. It's what I love to see. You know, those are those hype moments that players themselves, I'm sure, also, you know, they watch back when they want to see how that play went on out. And you have those iconic sound bites. So hopefully I did it justice. But look, I enjoyed it so much.
This is the first two of the league.
First two of the split, right? We didn't have a single one during split one. Then we came into playoffs, and then Katsuri from the Chiefs just went, look, okay, I'm going to try and play out of my mind to carry Chiefs to the final finishing line. Unfortunately, it wasn't to be the case, but definitely coming into split two here, teams are they're angry gaming. Maybe they're hungry. Maybe they're hangry. Maybe they're all coached in some way by Rusty. Who knows?
I feel like there's a lot of pressure now on Chiefs versus Direwolves for the winner there to round it out with a penta. Because if you don't, then can you really say that you succeeded tonight? Probably not. What day is it?
What do you mean?
It's Saturday, right? It's
Yeah.
day two. Yeah,
It
it's
is.
day two. Okay, yeah, this is your last chance. So, make it count. All right, speaking of making it count, our next Nick bag comes in from Toned. Our ex-flatmate ruined their room before they moved out, and it was covered with mold all over the walls. Since then, with our new flatmate moving in, it's been a recurring issue. We've had the room fully cleaned, but it's still happening. Problem is, our flatmate lets it stay this way. How do we convince him to just clean his bloody room often and keep it ventilated so the problem doesn't occur so often? Mind you, he does pay us extra rent to do all the house chores, but does that quota say the same about his room?
Well, no, it doesn't, does it? That's a really awkward
diffy.
situation.
This is a terrible situation. First of all, this is a terrible house. You need to leave. You're going to die. You're going to get mold in the lungs. It's going to be...
What is that? Is it just like, you know, not well put together? I don't know. Like, surely that's something that you go to your landlord about and say, what's going on here? Like, you know, regardless of our cleanliness, our routine, whatever we're doing, this is occurring. Surely they need to come in, right? It's a health hazard, no?
I mean, I want to know, what the hell did the previous roommate do that is now... It has ruined a wall structurally?
Yeah.
Did they... I'm just going to say it. They peeing in that wall? Is there some sort of pee hole? And they're filling that wall up? Is that what is possibly caused? How do you cause mold like that? I mean, that's a...
I
that's
think
a
they
bad
just
time.
went to the extreme gamer den. Like, that surely that's why. Like, they just had all of the walls barricaded shut. There is no such thing as sunlight in that room.
Yeah.
And it's just got dirty. Just dirty.
Yeah. It is just... well, Aussie Rookie here is saying urine kills mold, so it's probably not that. But can it
there's your
also grow
solution.
from it? I'm going to find out. There's your...
I don't know. I still think it's a landlord problem. I remember I had a flat where we had leaking showers. We had light bulbs that had water dribbling down them. We had like broken washing machines. We had this really quote unquote brand new house, by the way. But we had all these issues, and while we sounded like a bunch of whiny millennials, we're like constantly on speed dial to our landlord saying, what is on with this? What's going on with this, right? So I feel like there's a responsibility on you to keep the place clean, right? For flat inspections and so on. But if this is something that continues to happen...
What's a landlord issue?
It shouldn't be your
for
responsibility,
sure.
right? Surely.
Well, I don't want to take advantage of the COVID situation, but just stop paying rent. and just say, we can't do it right now until this problem gets fixed, and you technically cannot be evicted.
Yeah.
There you go.
I mean, it's more important that you fix that than you pay rent at this point. Is that's an actual problem that needs to be fixed immediately, right?
Yeah.
So either you get it fixed and just send them the invoice, just be like, you've got this much time to do it, or you just stop paying rent and say, this is covering it until you pay.
And if all else fails, just tell your landlord you're going to come over and pee on their walls. All right. In Search of the Shoe says, my roommate is, for some reason, not adjusting well to me going back to the office. How do I help her not be lonely without getting a pet? Because we can't have one.
My roommate is not adjusting well.
So so what I'm guessing is that during lockdown they spent a lot of time together, and then now Shu has gone back to work. The roommate's stuck at home by herself, and she's feeling some withdrawal symptoms here from like a friendship that is now no longer what it used to be.
I think you can break it down into a few things, right? Like, how close are you with this person? Like, are they like your best friend, for instance? How big is this person's friend circle? Are they introverted, extroverted? What are their interests? What are their hobbies? I mean, obviously, there's only so much Netflix and chill and all the rest of it that you can do, right? I think everyone's had an earful of that, but
that's a very close friendship. If that's what they're doing, Skimmy.
It would be a very close friendship. It really would be. I tell you what, they'd be having a lot of fun. But my thing, introvert, extrovert, I feel like that makes a big difference, right? If you don't have a big friend circle, it's tough.
It sounds like this person is an extrovert. You can't get a pet. I mean, I'm dealing with the same issue in terms of now that I'm starting to go back to my office. There's the situation of like my partner who is home with the two kids, and there's this thing of like leaving and being like, oh, we've been used for months of me being able to be at home during the day and be able to do a bunch of stuff. And so maybe your roommate could come and babysit my kids during the day to keep her occupied. Is she good with kids? Because we've found ourselves in a situation where I'm leaving. We need someone to replace me during the day. This could work out. We can pay you. It will not be a lot of money, but it would be technically paid work.
What if the person was you, Skimmy? What if you were the person that was feeling lonely because Tim Carbon's just started going back to work at the office?
For me, I wouldn't care. I would just play games, Like, I found my purpose in that, right? Like, when everyone had that kind of like edgelord period at high school where they're like unsure what they want to do, what they want to be, and then you got all this pressure from like career advisors saying, you need to know once you're 18, welcome to the real world, here you go, make money, pay your taxes. I don't know, like I found an interest and fully absorbed myself into it, right? And I feel like definitely when you're at high school and then sort of like transitioning out of that, you're a little bit lost. It's all about finding a hobby, something that you're passionate about, investing time into, because much like a relationship, if you're deriving your happiness from one person, super, super toxic, right? So surely they can find something in themselves that they enjoy, work on that, and step by step.
I actually like that in that give them a hobby that also helps you or the house. Restoring furniture, learning to clean mold off the walls of other OPL fans, something that she can do at home. Like get her a subscription to some online cooking classes or something. And then you come home each night, bam, delicious meal on the table, and your friend's been occupied.
I was going to say a book is also a good thing, like because that way they will be absorbed for the day, and then you'll both be able to have a discussion, especially if you've already read the books. If you're someone like Nick and Spawn that have read 2 million books. Mm-hmm. You could just give one that you've read. That's a hobby that'll keep them busy.
Yep. Give me your address. I'll send you some books. I got a ton of books. I got to get rid of some of these books. We can keep her occupied for months. All right.
I would, if you were an audiobook, Nick, I would listen to you before I went to sleep at night. That's all I'm saying.
You don't need that kind of hype.
I can't wait for that to go on that Twitter page. OPL out of context. Please clip it. Make it happen.
No, OPL out of context just needs to constantly post, Jenna, we need more heaty weedies.
We do need more heaty weedies, though.
Yes.
Are we going to have enough heaty weedies to be able to... Well, this doesn't work. I was trying to get some sort of like warmest or coolest from how hot this game's going to be. Chiefs versus Direwolves is what I'm obviously leaning into. We are replaying the semifinals of Split 1. Two teams who are looking to get a lot more done than they did at the end of last split. They feel like they've got a lot to prove. Rusty, who are we tipping for this one? Because there's a lot to lose for both of them.
Yeah, geez, it's hard to say, right? Both teams are actually on the back of 3 wins in a row now. Both look like they're really starting to find their form for themselves. And if we're going to use history as the example, then it should be the Direwolves that have the slight edge in that. But, you know, I have this feeling that I'm looking at the Chiefs, and I feel like it's a Yumi meta. And I just feel like the man with the broadest shoulders in League of Legends that could just bicep curl anyone on the opposing team, Dragku, will be able to hold it down and should be able to deal with the Direwolves in this game.
But that is my question mark, Rusty. We haven't really seen much come out of Dragku, right? So I'm not sure how big his hero or his champion pool is in that role since making a change. But that's what I mean, right? Like, if it's banned away, is he just stuffed? Like, what happens? We know obviously how good Katsuri is, and then we know how Direwolves have moved back to this aggressive meta of let's just play Leonas, Nautiluses, let's just make Vital an absolute madman. So I start to wonder, you know, if Dragku doesn't get a champion that he's comfortable on, what happens?
Well, he entered last time, but they still won, Skibby. They still won.
That's true.
Analysis doesn't mean anything, apparently.
There you go. Get Dragku that pick, and we need your pick for videos to join our OPL opening titles. Thanks to our wonderful partner NeoSurf, we are looking to add you to the opening titles of the OPL. All you need to do is film yourself joining our opening titles phone call. Follow OPL and NeoSurf Esports on Twitter, and then DM that video to @OPL. You've got until week 3. That is tonight, midnight tonight, to get your entries in via DM to @OPL. We'll be judging them. Full terms and conditions are on watch.lolesports.com. First prize is $500 dues in NeoSurf voucher credit for the League of Legends store, and there are 5 runners-up. They each get $100 each, so a big thank you to our partner NeoSurf, where your privacy is protected. There's no need to provide a credit card or personal information. Speaking of personal information, In Search of Shu did follow up on that last question and said she already the housemate already cooks me dinner every night and demands a sit-down dinner every night. So you have to realize now that you are in a relationship with this person.
I was going to say, that's not a friendship, that's a relationship.
No, you either need to like put a ring on it or get out of that house. When you're making that decision, you can watch Chiefs versus Direwolves. It's game 4. It is the banger to end all bangers this weekend, and it is coming up with the Macca's Champ Select.
Decoy, what are your thoughts about going up against Dragku for the Chiefs?
Well, Dragku role swapped recently, and I think he's been playing much better than expected. I still think he has a lot to learn. His champion pool is very, very small.
A center for
Dragku's champion pool.
Direwolves are looking to close this one out, and they are going to do it. Back-to-back best of 5s. They will defeat the Chiefs.
I think Croc's a pretty good player, so he's so excited to verse.
But Claire lately, I think he's a pretty good mid, but he's been copying my champ pool, so I think maybe he's like a big fan of me.
Tien, I've never really versed him before because every time I verse him, he just calls Jonghoon top 20 times, so I'm quite excited to verse Croc top this weekend.
Welcome back. Here we are, Spawn. We jump back in. We're pretty much where Split 1 finished, right? Second and third place is what we're playing for here. Chiefs and Direwolves, the rivals, the semi-final that we had in the playoffs.
What is happening today?
Look, we've got to forget that even happened. We've got to be professional.
No, look at your screen, Skivvy.
Oh. Okay. Wow. What do I even say? Can we even hear you, is my question.
I don't know. I hope
Well,
you
I guess
can
some
hear
solo
Rusty.
casting whilst we look at the beautiful face of the Instagram model known as Spawn. Oh, there's 2 of me now! Oh, there it is. There it is. Okay. Okay. Here we are. We are into a draft. Yumi was banned. Dragku doesn't have a support. Karma was banned. Dragku doesn't have support. What is he going to play?
I mean, he can play set, right? He was a top laner. Everyone can play set in the OPL. I think that's a great pickup for him there. I think they're also going to have a lot of all-in potential. Set's really good into the Nautilus. Nautilus is one of those champions that does have to look for trades, and I think that that's going to be something that Dragku can look to exploit.
All right. Well, we know what we expect here from a set support. Aggression, level 1, potentially just all-ins based off that, burning your flash to get a flash out of your opponent, having a Hex flash as that benefit, and taking a big win so early on into the game. But they're going to be going into an aggressive matchup, which is what we keep seeing from Direwolves and enjoying. Put Vital on an aggressive carry. We know he can do the damage. Give an aggressive support to combo with that. Decoy, since coming back into this one, definitely seems to have found that footing. And play some scaling. Shock gets the Azir, so we're looking at wombo combos and a bucket load of damage.
Yeah, and this is another one of those interesting games where I'm just looking across Summoner's Rift and I'm like, who actually wins a lane on either side? I think Ashe set is the one really strong point in this draft. I think that is nearly impossible to beat as a Phelios Nautilus, so I'm going to be watching bottom lane from Katsuri and Dragku like a hawk. I also think that Croc on top side of Summoner's Rift can probably solo both the solo laners, Skimmy. So if he's ever able to get in behind them and still has flash available, look for him to be able to put in some serious work. And you're right, Direwolves just kind of want to kill creeps for the first 25 minutes. This is one of those drafts where you look at it and you think, okay, I understand where it gets to in the late game, but how does it get there? Like, how do you ever get this composition to the 2.5 items that it needs?
Trying to bridge the gap in some form of fashion, you have to imagine. What's new for me is Croc never played Rek'Sai. This will be a new addition into his roster for us here today. Has definitely been a big fan of the carries. We've had a Kha'Zix, a Xin Zhao, for instance, coming out of him, right? So this is going to be something different that is definitely looking to bank on the early game success.
And let's be realistic.
That
Rek'Sai is Xin Zhao. They're like the exact same champion, right? Both of them insane duelists from level 3 onwards. If you meet them at a Scuttle Crab, they're going to be able to solo you out. But the difference between the Xin Zhao and the Rek'Sai in this situation is that against Azir, Rek'Sai has much more successful ganks. The ability to be able to, circumnavigate that wall, be able to get on top of Azir, dodge out of all of Azir's disengagement, and be able to follow through on the E. Rek'Sai is a really good Azir, Zoe, Orianna, Syndra, these kind of champion killers. So I think that this should be right in Croc's wheelhouse.
On the flip side of that, it's going to be Mary that plays the Olaf, and we saw how prevalent it was in their best of 5 semi-final, where they can flex it into the top side as well. Chippy's known for playing top Olaf. Always a pick you kind of expect when these two do battle. But Spawn, this is the final game of the day. What a way to close out week number 3. Chiefs taking on the Direwolves.
Yeah, the semi-final rematch, primetime slot, Saturday night, gaming experience, Skimmy. And I really like the Chiefs draft. So I just want to talk about why for a little moment.
Okay.
You're going to have Blade of the Ruined King Ashe as like perfect bridge in the early game, as well as Croc's Rek'Sai. And then you still have really good scaling components coming out of Claire and Thien. I don't think Thien is the best Ornn in the region at the moment, but he has been showing the propensity to be able to play a better weak side. And I think that when you pick kind of this bottom side of Summoner's Rift, you need to pick a weak side top laner. Because if this Olaf and Gangplank can just whittle you down, look for turret dives, and control top side of the Summoner's Rift, you're only ever going to go equal. So I think that the Chiefs draft has a lot of answers. And I think that Vital and Decoy are going to have to play so well bottom lane to be able to contest this Ashe set, even though they're not starting in lane. I still would not be surprised if Ashe sets still just get priority from, level 2 onwards.
We saw it happen earlier today when we had the Ashe, right? A level 1 kill, just literally walked into lane, utilized the passive, and ran them down to the turret. Prayed of conceding death, saying, oh, I'm just not even going to bother burning any of this summoners. It is what it is. So, to beg the question, as you say, where do Direwolves look to try and find these leads? It's only our second game here for Shock on this Azir. A pick that Claire also likes to play, but very great performance out of him yesterday on the Orianna. We'll be looking to tap into some of that performance, utilize that magic, and bring it here today.
Very interesting from Thien that he's not actually hitting the creep wave. He actually let 2 creeps go across, even though his wave looks like that it is pushing. And I wonder if that was in hopes that Chippies was going to start hitting him and like maybe dragging the creep wave back, but Thien, unfortunately, is shoving his wave out, knows that he has got the quicker jungler in Olaf pathing towards him right now, Skimmy, and may be in some trouble.
Certainly is.
Oh
as both
no!
go. Somehow that does not connect. I think the timing a little bit off there for Tien. That could have been a big chunk that would have allowed a gank for Croc pathing the side to really stick.
You hate to see it, Skimmy.
You really do.
I really do hate to see it. In saying that, change up of path, switch up here. Out of Mir, he's going to go away from his jungle and try and invade the Rek'Sai. Rek'Sai, however, has done the same camp, actually mirrored the clear exactly. I wonder if it is to try and stave off a dive, but you can see this wave is pushing back. So you would say Mir potentially on the wrong side of Summoner's Rift, Skimmy. The lane that's pushing back, he can't really gank right now unless Decoy lands the sickest hook of all time. And top lane, where he would love to gank right now, is where he is not.
Although, in saying that, he will have the vital information to let everyone know that Croc is topside from the invade. Now, he's looking to try and do something as Decoy does land that hook that you were alluding to.
But why would
Does
you
mean that
ever
Decoy
approach
falls
this
down to half.
wave if you're the Chiefs? You're going to lose one creep at maximum. You just leave. Go do something else. They check the Krogs. So now Croc knows that Mir isn't at the Krogs. Knows he's probably recalled or something along those lines. He's going to hope to find him on this camp. So, I mean, this is really nice play from the Chiefs. They're just playing it, by the numbers. They have lost a lot of creeps in the bottom lane, but they are about to crash into the turret, and you should be able to pick majority of these up. Mir, however, does win that smite fight. So it's
Certainly does.
going to send Croc back into the jungle.
Both junglers sniffing out trouble, really trying to get an idea as to where their counterpart is. Information that obviously they can then pass on through to their laners as to this is where he is. You can afford to play aggressive at the expense of not getting ganked here.
And maybe the winning side of Summoner's Rift wasn't that winning after all, Skimmy, that I said was going to be winning. So, at the end of the day, we're just going to have a complete farm fest, a snooze fest of an early game. What do you want to talk about?
So I'm curious about how Chippy's looks to try and play this one, right? We've seen him really evolve his playstyle coming into Split 2, veering away from the likes of your Camille Fioras and everything aggressive that wants to draw as many resources as possible. He's opted into the GP here, which definitely is wanting that kind of playstyle. But what was interesting for me yesterday, when he went into a 0-6 Renekton, he had a flawless game. They had the exact same farm, but he actually had less gold as a whole. So definitely saying, look, I know that I've got carries on my team in both Shock and Vital. I have full faith in them. I can give them the resources, and I know that they can execute with it. So I'm curious to see how he looks to try and play this GP with that in mind.
Yeah, and I mean, that's just the maturity of a player, right? You speak about the fact that he's played on other lineups where he has had those resources, those players. He played with Fantix for years, played with King for a little bit, and he still wanted to be the primary carry. Well, now that he is playing with Shock and Vital, he's just acknowledging, hey, I can play a tank role. I can be more of a facilitator than what I have been in the past. And I think that just shows his growth and maturity as a player. In saying that, Gangplank is one of his most played of all time. I think it actually is his most played of all time, up there with maybe Olaf. As we actually see Decoy go for a little bit of a drive-by of this Scuttle Crab. Who took that then? Was that Katsuri that snaked his jungler Scuttle? No! It was Vital!
Take it!
Oh my goodness gracious me. If I'm Croc, that's still
screaming.
Yeah. That's infuriating, Skimmy.
Given that Chiefs are the first ones to respond to that one, and Direwolves had to path so defensively from the back end to try and even get into that. Regardless, Chiefs will still be able to get themselves a nice little victory here in starting off the very first Dragon of the game. It's going to be
Are they going to get it?
Taken off. You'd certainly say so, given how close it is to smite range.
What are they doing? Yeah, full inside track from your bottom lane. You can see that the Ashe is completely Skimmy. Why would you not just go over that wall of Ymir and look to run her down? That was a pretty interesting play coming across from Direwolf. Maybe just a little bit of stage fright, not willing to pull the trigger. And this is, Skimmy, going to be the slowest game of the night. Like, just strap yourself in. We ain't going anywhere.
The longest game we had in that semi-final was 35 minutes.
I reckon this is going to be longer.
Yeah, the quickest was 29. Very different compositions, bear in mind. And I do think this is going to be a little bit like how Direwolves opened up their campaign against Legacy, which was, you don't really see much in the first 20.
Yep, and you can just tell by the drafts that both teams were willing to take this one late. I thought we might get some early action throughout this bottom lane, but it doesn't look to be the case. Croc going to be invaded by Mir. Can he look for maybe a flash arm barrow or something like that? Nah, why would I even mention it? Why would you use summoner spells to fight, Skimmy? Just instead, chill. Take the farm allocated to you. Be
But that is my
Gucci.
concern. We know obviously how good Croc is. There's no denying his ability, but the champion itself, obviously Olaf is going to have an absolute field day at late game based on the amount of resistances he's going to be able to build himself up, that he can press that Ragnarok, jump that backline and say, Katsuri, you have no mobility, you are as dead as done.
I actually think he'll get one-shot late game. I am of the opinion that Olaf is the worst late game jungler in the game.
Comparatively to this Rek'Sai, you'd say?
Yep, comparatively to the Rek'Sai. Olaf sucks. Well, as soon as you use Ragnarok, you strip away all of your defensive stats. You don't get any farm because your Azir and your Aphelios are busy snaking your raptors and your chickens. At this stage of the game, however, very strong. But as is the Rek'Sai, fight's going to be on.
Certainly is. The fight starts, and it's going to be the first blood going to the Chiefs as Croc finds it, burrows across that wall, looks to try and tag somebody up so we can get an ultimate charge off, but that will force out a flash here from Chippies.
And that's what I expect to happen. And the reason is there's just so much damage on the Chiefs lineup. If he is able to isolate and 1v1 someone, obviously Olaf is very strong, but if you're running through the Orianna ball, through all the damage that set support's going to put down, not to mention the Blade of the Ruined King first item, lethal tempo, Ashe, I think you're probably going to be in for a rough game, especially if you're building Warrior, Skimmy. I do not think he is going to be the tankiest Olaf on Summoner's Rift. However, he did get his team their Herald, which is job well done, because if you can get the plates onto Vital right now, that would be a major win for the Direwolves lineup.
Yeah, certainly would be. And we saw, I believe, it actually in the game yesterday, Vital doing 40% of his team's overall damage. The guy's an absolute madman.
That's a big performance.
He's a big man. That's why kind of like I alluded to the point earlier about how Chippies is looking to invest these resources elsewhere. The maturity, as you say, as well. And it is going back to basics, right? He came into the split, he played aggressive. Then they sort of veered away a little bit. Obviously had the introduction of Cupcake and Decoy flexing in that support role.
Well, it's all about
haywire in playoffs.
It's all about finding yourself someone that can do both, right? You want someone that can play your Camille's, Fiora's, like hard counter picks when teams disrespect you in draft. But, good combo there from PM. Won't get the Empowered Auto attack out though. Could have maybe used the Yawn Horn for the slowdown. It doesn't actually have it. Well, that's why you didn't use it, Jake. But yeah, it's all about finding yourself someone that can do both, right? You need to be able to blind pick your top lane. You need to be able to counter pick with scaling tops in a situation like this. And you also need to be able to play the carries.
Oh, he's landed a tag. That's a kill. Dashes on through. It's the orange. Doesn't prevent Scurvy though. Vitamin C will not save the day today as Croc gets himself 2 kills to his name.
In saying that, the dive was really well done. Actually pinged the wave that they wanted to dive. They had sent Claire back to base. Now they've sent 4 members into the Chiefs side bottom lane. And you can see they're looking to drop their Rift Herald. However, they have swapped back and they're teleporting in.
They want to force this fight. They started off with the Enchanted Arrow. They locked them in place. Now the Ornn Ultimate to lock them in place for an easy triple knock-up. OKTN, you're absolutely smurfing this time around. Dragku gives them a little bit of a taste of what top lane life is like and locks them all in place. But Chox comes in with the Emperor's Divide. Can it achieve too much? It's not looking good so far. Chiefs trying to disengage, but in full control of this team fight. There is no questioning that. The scoreboard 6-0. The Shockwave compounds it 7-0. And the ace.
What a play out of Katsuri there. Just able to single-handedly occupy the backline as the Ashe uses all the summoner spells, all the resources. Of course, Croc, in the meantime, just takes all the top lane farm, pushes in the top lane wave. But the Chiefs now with a 5,000 gold lead nearly, Skimmy, just off the back end of one really nice play. We saw what happened topside. What we didn't see that there was a perfect teleport ward, and this is the thing about the spellful Fawn. You have to be very aware of it. Great little ultimate there from Dragku, although he didn't take Olaf with him. And this is what I mean, Skimmy. Look at Katsuri, kind of half health, burns both summoner spells, going to take down the Olaf, then puts all of this damage into shock, and just standing toe-to-toe. You know, that's against maximum Sand Soldiers there, and just has the correct damage calculation, knows that he will win that fight.
Monster 80 carry into Monster 80 carry, always a matchup that has fascinated us. But this time Katsuri shows why he is the one that gets penned, why he is the one that wants retribution for how that semi-final paid out against him. It was a full best of 5, it went 3-2 in favor of the Direwolves, but as it stands right now, 12 minutes in with teams of this caliber, a 5k lead is devastating.
Certainly is, especially when you have a look at farm advantages, because you can see 30 CS in the bottom lane right now. Vital has been at least hitting creeps very nicely, Skimmy. However, we said that the game-changing point for the Direwolf should have been dropping that Herald, getting plates onto Vital. I do believe that didn't happen, and at the same time, Katsuri picked himself up a double kill. So, Vital, whilst being previously very far ahead, now probably a little bit more equal in gold than he would have liked, given how he has played this early game personally.
Certainly going to be a bit frustrated with how things came to this close, and obviously Croc, true to his fashion, quite content just pushing away in the top side as well, whilst his team win at that fight. Orno comes out, exhaust to follow things with as well. He has nowhere to run or hide, no flash, but Mir actually just bodies him with the Ragnarok. And a TP comes in from Claire.
I would love to say really well done by Mare there, but Croc really flubbed that. He didn't use the ultimate in time, Skivvy. Probably was in execute range. Got his Conqueror proc up nice and early, and then just ulted too late. And as you mentioned, got taken down. Also had the flash available, so should have just flashed and joined up with the N, I feel like, in that skirmish. Instead of playing a 2-on-1 where they had Summoner Spell advantage, instead they looked for a 1-on-1. And they kind of lost on both accounts because Thien used the ultimate, wasn't able to pick up the solo kill. And as you mentioned, Mir just able to take down Croc.
Mir lives, and so does Chippies, and those are small wins for them that they will look to try and abuse and utilize to give them a fighting chance to come back into this one as we look to see some of these breaking points, these item spikes that will favor the Direwolves in this late game slow scaling style of play, which is the Stinger now here for Shox Azir. Going to be working in towards that being a Nash's Tooth, and 3 components that work your way into completing that Infinity Edge. So Vital is one on his way to trying to match now the completed Blade of the Ruin King that Katsuri has from all that successful team fighting.
And I always get really interested in games like this, Skimmy, because normally what we're used to is Katsuri and Dragku playing a really great weak side, you know, a Yuumi Escalane, maybe a Karma Escalane, and just showing up for team fights. But they've picked themselves Ashe set, and you should be able to fight with this lane, especially at this stage of the game. You've got Blade of the Ruin King completed. But what have we seen? We've seen multiple times that Croc would rather gank for Thien. And Thien's playing Ornn this game. It's not like he is playing the fighter. You shouldn't necessarily be ganking for the Ornn into the Gangplank matchup. That's probably the area you should be letting farm, and you should be ganking for this Ashe. You should be trying to generate some form of gold lead. Ashe is just falling so far behind in CS. And you can't rely on kills to bail you out the entirety of the game.
Well, what is the game plan for Chiefs right now as they all gather around the mid-wave? Say hello to each other, give themselves a high five, summon a Herald, and then disperse once again. Responses from Direwolves to sit to their lanes as it stands, but Chippies does not have to teleport up for at least another 30 seconds, you'd have to say.
Does have ultimate though, Steve. Looks like Chiefs want to dive potentially.
Headbutt goes through successfully, and with the plates down, makes quick work of it, as now Chiefs definitely look to try and force that dive! 3-man shockwave! That's a double kill if I've ever seen one from Claire. Absolutely destroying, perfect synergy with the call of the Forge Gods and the emote. Absolutely rise.
Yeah, that was a really nice play from the Chiefs, wasn't it? You got to say the synergy was there. Everyone knew exactly what their role was. From off screen, Katsuri fires a really nice ultimate. Croc flashes in, and Claire takes care of the rest. Let's take another look at this one. So they make sure they're on swept path. Arrow will land. Got some Ragnarok out nice and early, means all the resistances are stripped away. And then just the 3-man shockwave leads Claire to a double kill, I believe, Skimmy.
Yeah.
And the gold lead is back out to 5,000.
Classic Chiefs. How many times have we seen them group up somewhere as a team, force a flank, make a wombo combo and say, that's it, we've had enough of this game, we want to win right now. It always tends to be around this minute of the game, 17 minutes into this one, 10 kills to 1 spawn, 30,000 gold to 26. That gold lead is not budging anytime soon.
And I think we're starting to see a couple of separate metas form within the OPL. And I talk about this a lot, Skimmy, but good hula hoop there. Can he still win this? Okay. Certainly looks like he can. Even without the ultimate there, Claire decimates Chippy's health bar. And what I was going to mention, Skimmy, is generally when you're scrimming within the OPL, you'll form 2 scrim groups. You know, very rarely do all 8 teams scrim all 8 teams. You know, maybe someone made a comment on Twitter, so you get blocked from scrimming a group. Maybe your team doesn't like how late you are for scrims or how long your reviews go, or they just think that you're a crap team and they don't want to scrim you, right? For whatever reason.
Yep.
So generally you do get scrim groups forming. And what we've seen a little bit today is that I think we've seen nearly 4 or 5 teams play insane scaling comps. Pentanet playing, you know, triple losing lane, scaling comps. Chiefs this game kind of got insane scaling comp in my opinion, as did Direwolves. And then obviously always Legacy, always play the scaling comp. So maybe that isn't scrim meta related. But you wonder whether scrims at the moment are just stalling out due to bad play. And therefore scaling is winning a lot of scrims. And therefore we're getting kind of this artificial meta. Because I haven't seen this much scaling globally be utilized. We're seeing a lot of Wukong, we're seeing a lot of fighting junglers over in the LPL. If he gets shockwaved again.
But despite all of that, we're seeing a lot of team fighting as well as the Void Rush goes on out, but it won't do enough damage to make sure Chippies falls on down, or maybe I've just seen my words too soon. It do, in the end, take him down as Shock rocks up to the fight, coupled with the CC of a Nautilus Hook. Makes it a 1-for-1, but they had all their eggs invested into that basket for sure. Arrows, just everything. I don't even know. I'm lost for words right now. Chiefs are just literally running rampant on this map.
Yeah, they certainly are. I mean, but they used ultimates for summoner spells there, Skinny, which is always a really great trade in League of Legends, right? So you get Chippy's Flash, you get Shock's Teleport. What did you have to use on your side? Well, you used an Ash Arrow, Shockwave, as well as Rek'Sai Ultimate, and all of those much shorter cooldowns. You can see by the time Rek'Sai back on Summoner's Rift, probably going to be ready to fight again. So I would say Chiefs right now certainly getting the better of the trades. And they're on Soul Point. Once again, win Soul today. We've had, I think, double win Soul games, Skimmy. So League of Legends Gods is not necessarily smiling on us, but still should be good for the likes of the set, especially.
Now, I want to touch on something here, Spawn. Because I've personally never seen it, and I'm sure you probably noticed it as well. I look at Tien's build and go, is this guy Superman and Batman at the same time?
No, this is a really good build if you're into primarily physical damage. So Ornn upgrade on Sunfire Cape is the most gold efficient upgrade in the game. It's absolutely OP. You go double Sunfire, and then you go into your Abyssal Mask, and you have the 3 most gold efficient items in the game. And really, you're only dealing with Azir, and Azir doesn't want to be whacking Ornn at this stage. So the health is just going to be more useful. So I like the build a lot. Shout out to Pabu on Twitter, who definitely has a lot of opinions on builds, but this one, he definitely got right, Skimmy. This is a good build.
Well, we'll get to look forward to seeing what it actually does. He's got a cape on his shoulder, and he's definitely going to be looking to try and make the moves right now. As it stands, has definitely been working in his favour.
And also, this game, if you want to keep Ashe alive, you can make an excuse to not even go the Abyssal and just go straight Locket. Locket on tanks is one of the most underutilized items in the game. And what Locket does, it takes a percentage of your health as Chippers again gets Shockwave.
Yeah, and it took a percentage of his health.
Yep, certainly did, and the percentage was large. So what Shockwave? Everyone knows what Shockwave does. What Locket does, it takes a percentage of your health, gives it to your carries, right, as an artificial shield for a certain amount of time. If your support is a set, he's never going to build Locket. So as a top laner, really cost-efficient item to be able to give this stat boost. And as you mentioned, kind of the Olaf playstyle is going to be try and truck down the Orianna or the Ashe. And if you have some health from the Ornn, really going to help you stay alive, Skimmy.
Shields all around, not to mention, obviously, Orianna has the shield to initiate as well. So, can they live to tell the tale? That's what we're going to be able to notify ourselves with here. Double upgrade as he hits level 13. Sunfire Cape's looking pretty beefy at this stage. He's got 3,500 health and 300 armor too.
Yep, very big boy.
Certainly is. Shockwave after shockwave, always onto this one man. Sayonara as he gets taken on down. Croc once again finding the dash, the leap, and surfing his way to a bot lane tier 2.
And as I mentioned, Skimmy, this is one of those games where you're in heaven as a Rek'Sai. Because if you stay on the clock, which he has, very much so, 4, 2, and 3 would be a very wealthy man, the old Croc. You can maybe still 1v1 Shock in this game with the items that he's picked up. And he's going to go, most likely, GA as well as his last item. So he's still got a BF sword worth of 8E to build, right? So if you ever find Shock, you can maybe 1v1 him. If you find Vital, maybe not if he has Red Gun, but any other gun, you can probably 1v1 him. So you have so many options as a Rek'Sai this game. Good positioning, however, here from the Direwolves. Means that they have inside track. They need to get this dragon to me. This is the soul.
They certainly do. Now, what do we have? Shock has max magic penetration, will absolutely obliterate those key targets we highlighted in both Claire and Katsuri. But there is a death cap now. And that Orianna, a Shockwave's already packing a punch. They're even far more devastating now.
And they're just so low on experience compared to their counterpart. Claire 2 levels up. You can see Croc 2 levels up. Looking for the engage here.
Certainly are. Croc on the flank right now, but it's Mir and the rest of the team, actually starting this one off. The Dragon goes down to half. Soul Point is what they are fighting for, what they're contesting for. And shot an arrow onto 2. They lock in place the tank, and that's all going to be that Dragon needs to initiate in deep dive. 1v3, he will fall on down. Aphelios finds it. He's got the dream weapon set up, but can he do enough damage to try and make this fight work in their favor? Katsuri locked in the pit. It's a double kill for the Orianna. He's flashing, he's dashing, he's making it work. Chief's looking so damn clean. Emperor's Divide onto Shock! Oh my god, Shock, what has he just done? He lives to tell on 50 health, and I do not believe it. They stole the dragon, and Shock he's just shown up completely.
What a team fight out of Shock on the back end of the play, just able to pick up the clutch triple. We take another look at it. Did Claire whiff the ultimate? That is the question here, Skimmy, because you, as you mentioned, good initiation. Onto the carry, arrow hits as well, and where is the Shockwave on my screen? I have not seen it yet, it's already been used, I missed it completely. I don't know whether you caught it.
Looks like hit Azir.
Okay, so only a one-person Shockwave, that probably is considered a whiff. And you can see Azir just over the wall, pumping out maximum damage. This is why Ashe trying to make Olaf miserable after ultimate. But you got to say, Shock here, just piling them up onto each other, gets very good CC assistance from Decoy. And that's a great team fight, if you are the Direwolves.
Absolutely disgusting. And to clarify, the Enchanted Arrow hit Azir.
Yeah, where did the Shockwave hit?
It was the Shockwave that hit the Nautilus.
Ah, well that is definitely a whiff then. If you're a 5-1-5 Death Cap Orianna, and that's why I knew it had whiffed, because either Vital or Shock should have instantly popped to that damage, right? But definitely not coming across the members that you want it to. Now, Baron looks like it could be a target. Direwolves, however, they can just hold the stall. Maybe
That's
not.
a lot of damage. Miru is forced to run away. Gosh, that is tough order for him. But Croc says, we want to force this fight right now. They drop down the Aphelios turret. He's got the dream weapon set up. Dracu's in so much pain. Moonlight Vision from afar. He's gone. He has to stopwatch. He survives. No kill to shit. Oh my god, it's pixel perfect. He squared up the Q. And he deletes Dracu. There is no chance to run away.
Say it with me, OPL fans. When green and white are Aphelios' guns, never run into him. They just do so much damage, Skimmy.
That's so gross. I'm never going to get tired of seeing it, but they need to nerf it one of these days.
Well, the problem is that they've nerfed him like 4 times. Do you remember how strong Glue Gun Ultimate used to be off the back end of it?
I remember it used to have infinite range.
That used to, well, the green and white used to have infinite range. But do you remember when, what was it? Blue Gun plus, was it blue and purple that you used to just
on release?
Yeah.
Oh, and it just 1v5. Like, you'd chuck out your ultimate, and then it'd all just splat.
Everyone would just die.
Yeah, gross.
Yeah, so definitely...
I would just keep nerfing.
Different iterations of Aphelios have been strong.
That's going to pop the Sterix. Once again, Deja Vu, the third time it's happened in this bottom lane. Chippy's having an absolute guts for 0-6. Not the scoreline we're used to seeing for this player here today. But I want to touch back on Shock for a second. Halo Blades, absolute monster right now. It has the Leandries as a result of that massive triple kill that favored them. A lot of damage online. We know how strong an Emperor's Divide can be at the right place, especially in those pits. And
more
with a minute on that
Skimmy.
next Dragon Soul attention again, potentially. Is that comeback condition again?
Yeah, and more than that, he got a triple kill, which really caught him up in experience. Kills for experience are really underrated within League of Legends, so he's only like half a level down now. Obviously, Claire still has major advantage of being able to upgrade that Death Hat. So he's now got himself a stylish new swag hat from PN, so definitely still Claire's game to lose, in my opinion.
He's a king, the Death Crown.
He's at a Death Crown, okay. But at the same time, I think Shock, you're right. If he is left untouched touched on the back end will pump out significant damage, whereas Claire is kind of that one and done big wombo combo that we saw in the mid lane. And I feel like that's kind of the case of this team fight. I feel like if they get an arrow into a knock-up or a great Ornn ultimate and Orianna hits 2 or 3 people with a shockwave, fight's probably done. But as flashes are about to come up and available, there is a potential that if the Direwolf stall out that fight, you know, maybe get a little bit more damage from the Aphelios and the Azir than their counterparts, they can definitely still win this game. 3,000 gold at 28 minutes. Definitely not as bad as it was before.
Certainly isn't. Once the ornaments inflate that a little bit more, but it's the silent number you'll never quite see. But the Chiefs have done a nice little job here of distracting the Direwolves, only now clicking on to say they've taken the soul. We need to try and turn our attention towards this Baron. It's far too late at this stage of the game. Chiefs have helped them ransom, and now they've got to play around once again mid-pro.
And once again, it's only an air soul, so if the Direwolves have made the conscious decision of, do you know what would be really great? If in 6 minutes there was a dragon that practically ends the game coming alive for us to be able to take, let's just make sure that they take the next air dragon. Maybe not exactly how the conversation went, Skimmy, but I'm sure they were like, do we want to fight this dragon? And they were like, no, it probably isn't worth throwing the game over. And a little bit of the back of my mind is like, we're still probably going to outscale. As you mentioned, ornaments kind of warp the opinion of whether that is still the case. But I would think that if everyone gets the 6 items, Aphelios should be able to season 10 the game with the Nautilus and the Azir.
What is the cooldown now on that shockwave? You've got all the CDR, now you've got that as well. Sure, you're looking at like a 30-second shockwave cooldown. It's going to be absolutely gross as Draku goes for the initiation, locks in place free. Draku and Croc coordinate an effort to take out one. Miru gone. Now they're chasing
Vital
for more, but
again.
Vital is doing so much damage. He is absolutely crushing. When you see the chakrams, you run to the hills. And he gets locked in place. He goes golden. He'll find one. And he life steals. He survives. How are Direwolves continuing to do this? On the brink of death, getting one, getting out. I don't understand, Spawn.
The Direwolves carries are honestly playing on another level at the moment, Skimmy. Both of the carries in this game, like that was 2 members died, Chippy's late to the fight, and then the carries just took over. And I don't know if you can do this Baron guy.
He has the Emperor's Divide, but he does not have the flash. Fully reliant on no Sand Soul to try and make something happen. The Baron very low, down to 2,000 health. Croc is there. They don't have Mirror. They're not going to steal it. There is no Smite, but that's one. And that is the second. 1-for-1 either way. As the ADC gets traded out here for the mid lane, and now Direwolves looking to try and get as many kills as they can to deny these Baron buffs. He's got the sniper. He's got the chakrams. He's waiting for... Well, he was waiting for Chippy to try and buy as much time as he could, but can't 1v3 this situation to take that much for. Now Miru runs back in. It's chaos! Just go back to base!
It is chaos, Skivvy, and they do end up winning the team fight. They get themselves the Baron. I thought that maybe a little bit more work could be done from Shock there. I'm not sure I appreciate let's just go all in for the swag, Emperor's Divide. I think he could have maybe poked out a little bit more. As you mentioned, ideal guns for Vital there. But in saying that, they do still have the opportunity of this Elder Dragon fight. Only one inhibitor down. And if he gets towards Death's Dance, Vital, I don't know how close he is to it. It would be great to see the gold. Could certainly be his fight to carry now. 4-item Aphelios, Skimmy. Not something to be trifled with.
No, has gone for the Phantom Dancer as a slight diversion towards what would be commonly the 3rd place Death's Dance. The Katsuri is well and truly having a lot of fun right now. He's mirrored it with the Phantom Dancer as well. Got himself that Power Blade King. That's that Shockwave. That is a 30-second cooldown doing essentially 2,000 damage. Beautiful.
And he just gets smitten, smote, smited, killed. Skimmy. He's gone. So much damage.
He got spit on, is what I'm going to say. It was a pity kill at this stage of the game. Not often I see Chippies in a situation like this down 0-7. Really rough showing for him here. As the Chiefs now break through the mid ace. They're going to take it on down. Mid inhibitor falls 32 minutes into this one. They can easily transition to that top side. Shockwave's back up and available again. They can go for another fight.
They're going to get triple inhibbed 2 minutes before the Elder is up. So they probably have to try and fight right now while they're still in the base, Skimmy. You never want to fight 4v5, however, so they're trying to tickle them until Azir is back up and available. But the Chiefs, they're just going to go.
One last 5v5. Shockwave just deletes Vital. No time to outplay, no summoners. And no team to back him up. That's a double kill for Katsuri. There is only one objective in their sight, and that is let's end this game. Claire will not fall victim to the Empress Divide, and he will not fall victim to the Fountain's laser. The Nexus is exposed, but the Chiefs will win. 33 minutes in here.
Yeah, and it was a back and forward game, Skimmy. It looked like at stages the Chiefs were going to be able to run over it. You know, cast your mind back to that Tier 1 mid lane turret dive where they just instantly blow up 3 members. Credit to Direwolves, their carries played so well to fight back into it. But it kind of felt a little bit like everyone's going to be talking about it, so you kind of have to say it. Kind of felt like a bit of a 4v5, Skimmy. Chippy's on that gangplank. They put him on it to play weak side into the Ornn. He just got picked on. There was really no support that they could give him in that game. No. What did he end? 0-8? That's a very rough game for Chippy. He's a player that has looked in very good form, so credit to the Chiefs for attacking him, but Chippy's just a non-factor that game.
Yeah, unfortunately they're targeted by the same setup, the same play 4 times over, and Chiefs will run with that. They are a team that know how to team fight and certainly did, and used it to great effect there. We're going to welcome back the boys, both Nick and Rusty, in to close out the show. Get ourselves ready for the MPL, where I'm sure we can continue to tilt train from where we left off last night, no doubt.
Rusty, what's the word they were looking for?
Smote?
Smote.
Smitten. Smited.
Smoten.
I think it was smitten by Croc. Who wouldn't be smitten by Croc?
It's hard not to be. He's a
That's
very
my question.
handsome
Why do
man.
I always look this way to look at Rusty when Rusty is definitely this way?
That's true. You should
that's
take
trippy.
your opening cues from our Brady Bunch intro. And,
We're doing that.
No, I
if
did it
you could
backwards.
if you could just dab now, that would be amazing.
Yeah, not going to happen. Dab Daddy has retired.
Chiefs purging some frustration from the semi-finals there on the Direwolves. So well done to them. Let's take a look at the results from the evening because while the biggest surprise obviously was casters showing up on cameras when we weren't expecting.
God, you guys are lucky that I was ready for that one.
I mean, we were talking afterwards.
Game before, I was doing stretches. I was doing some hamstring stretches. That would have been awkward.
What is awkward is being on the right-hand side of this graphic because Order Takedown Mammoth, Pentanet.gg, felled Gravitas, Legacy broke the backs of Avant Gaming, and the Chiefs smoted the Direwolves. So it is a good time for the lefties on the screen, and that means it's time to take a look at the standings. As they stand at the moment, first place Legacy undefeated this split so far. Their rockiest weekend yet, it's pretty fair to say, but they came out on top still. Number 2, Chiefs. You've then got tied third place between 4 teams: Direwolves, Avant, Order, and Pentanet.gg. Gravitas in 7th spot, and Mammoth, the inverse of Legacy. They're still looking for their first win this split, but we did get our first 2 Penta kills, which was a really exciting end to this weekend. And I don't know whether or not we're going to be able to top it next week, but let's take a look at the games that we have coming towards us and see if there is any Penta potential coming up in any of those. Game number 1, Avant Gaming versus Pentanet.gg. Game 2, Order taking on the Direwolves. Then it's Gravitas and Mammoth and Chiefs versus Legacy in a knockdown, drag out, smack 'em around fight there for Game 4. Gentlemen, obviously Game 4 is something we're looking forward to. What else is piquing our interest?
The whole day, Nick.
The whole day? Yeah, I mean, they're all pretty good games, aren't they?
There's so many narratives to follow. Bottom of the table, top of the table, the mess as we've coined it. Looking to try and see which teams can claw themselves away and look to put themselves in that top 4 bracket for playoffs. I think some really interesting games.
Especially because 2 of those teams in the mess are going to have to go positive in first round robin. So as Pentanet and Avant are playing each other, one of them is going to go 4-3, one is going to go 3-4. And as Order are playing Direwolves in Game 2, same thing's going to happen there. So the mess has to sort itself out now, and we'll have the upper mess and the lower mess.
Yeah, good. Sorry, I'm just very distracted by the chat, who are all very comfortable at the idea of Rusty doing all the positions. So I think you're going to have to get that top knot, mate, that we were speaking about. I think it's going to have to go in. A massive thank you to our sponsors, the wonderful Maccas, the wonderful NeoSurf, and the wonderful EPOS for making this broadcast possible. A reminder that NeoSurf competition ends at midnight tonight, so if you haven't submitted your entries to it, please DM at OPL on Twitter with your video to be part of our opening titles. $500 dues will go a long way in getting some skins on the League of Legends store, and you can't sneeze at $100 each for the runners-up as well. So that is a great prize and a great sponsor. So thank you very much, NeoSurf. And boys, thank you very much for a weekend. We got there officially at the end of the broadcast before we hit the MPL. Spawn still seems to be in a relatively good mood. Skimmy always still hyped, still excited, and Rusty slowly starving and dwindling away in front of our eyes.
1 hour and 20 minutes late, Nick. It's
can-
1 hour and
Just
20 minutes.
cancel it.
No, I called and they were like, it'll be there in 30. And I was like, oh, okay. Thanks.
I don't like this at all. Gentlemen, thank you very much for a weekend. It's been very enjoyable. Should we decide now on what we're going to do for the MPL?
Yeah, I don't mind. What do you want to do?
Embarrass ourselves?
Well, I'd probably not ARAM after yesterday.
Yeah. Do you want to just do you just want to TFT and chill? Skimmy, to use a sentence that you used before.
Look, I like to...
incorrectly.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I like to push that boundary there, Nick. Keep touching that mic. This is ASMR content. I want it. I need it. Create it.
Let's just do a little TFT, and we might find some viewers as well. So hit me up with a friend request, Nick Boy in League, and we will see you very shortly for the MPL after this short break. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching the OPL this weekend. We are out.
Today is the NeoSurf Cup, and we're going to be playing against Misfits, so hopefully we can bring home the win.
NeoSurf is simple, safe, and secure. You can go to your local shop and get a voucher code and use it online, preferably to buy League of Legends skins.
He's got it! This is deadly! He's got it!
Welcome to the 2020 OPL. I am Nick Boy Richardson.
And that's a beautiful hemo play. Got to multiple members. He gets himself a double kill.
It's Ray's doing what he does. The team fight king.
We love everybody. We love the OPL.
If you're craving the taste of your favourites, head to Macca's for a fast, safe and contactless drive-through experience. For your Macca's run, contact-free, we'll be here.
Greetings, Captain. Incoming status report with news from the Convergence. We've lost contact with some of our allies and enemies have called in reinforcements. We'll have to round up some new recruits if we want to restore peace to the galaxy. Ready? This is Team Fight Tactics Galaxies. Return to the stars. Valkyrie and Void forces have withdrawn from the intergalactic arena. But systems report that new champions have emerged with abilities we've never seen before. Mechanized units identified as Battlecast wreak fear and havoc among the ranks of their adversaries, while Astros possess unique abilities. It looks like some remarkably powerful champions are making their way to the front lines. A creature of total mechanical terror, Urgot launches his drill at enemies and reels them in for utter annihilation. Janna casts powerful storms across the battlefield, bolstering allies and disrupting enemy units with impressive crowd control. Thanks to her unique origin, she grants allies additional attack bonuses, giving her team some much-needed support. Oh, one more thing. The Galactic Leaderboard has been reset. With legions of new recruits entering the intergalactic stage, each with unlimited potential waiting to be tapped, I can hardly calculate all the future possibilities. Well, actually, I can. But that's not the point. The galaxy needs you, Captain. So, ready on your go.